Hello everyone, Recapped Mystery here. Welcome back. Today, I'm going to explain a science fiction drama film called Another Earth. Watch out and take care. The film starts with a high school party. Rhoda Williams, a 17-year-old girl, is a brilliant student who has recently been admitted to MIT. She has a party with her boyfriend. She tells in the backdrop how she fell in love with space science after viewing Jupiter's quick succession in one of NASA's Voyage photographs. Rhoda believes she is capable of accomplishing anything. Late at night, she drives drunk while listening to the radio, which announces the discovery of a new planet with its own moon, identical to Earth, in the solar system. The planet has scientists confused since no one saw it coming. The radio instructs listeners to gaze to the north in order to see the planet, which is easily visible from Earth. Rhoda, who is inebriated, glances out the window of her car as she speeds away. A family of 3 is in a car parked beside the road somewhere nearby. The child names his robot Bob, and his parents laugh along with him. We learn that the mother is pregnant while they converse. Their chat is cut short as Rhoda's automobile collides with them, resulting in a tragic accident. She is injured but awake. She gets out of her car and walks over to the other car, where she finds the couple unconscious. She turns around, unsure what to do, and is shocked to discover the small boy lying motionless on the ground. A police siren wails in the background, and the screen blacks out, revealing the newly discovered planet in the distance. Rhoda is shown in a cell. She was detained following the tragedy. It's now been 4 years. According to a news report, Earth 2 is now much closer to the Earth and appears to be an identical replica of the Earth based on its look. It can now be seen from the Earth's surface. The structure of its continents and oceans, as well as its cities and towns, appears to be identical to that of the Earth as seen through a telescope. Scientists attempted to send radio signals to the planet and obtain the response. They have, however, been unable to understand it. Some scientists do not believe the planet exists and believe it is merely a cosmic mirror reflecting the image of the Earth. Rhoda is released from prison 4 years after the disaster. Her parents come to pick her up after she goes out for the first time. While discussing the second planet, her brother mentions an essay contest sponsored by Keith Harding, a billionaire entrepreneur who is funding the first space journey to Earth 2. He is offering a free ticket to the person with the strongest motivation to join. Rhoda returns home and examines her possessions in her room. She no longer feels like the person she once was, and she dislikes the environment. She glances out the window and is captivated by the sight of the second Earth in the sky. Rhoda then opens her laptop and learns about the United States Ventures program, which her brother mentioned earlier. To get the civilian ticket, she must write and submit an essay explaining why she wants to go there. She looks at her laptop but does not type anything. Then she moves all of her possessions to the attic and makes it her new room. She sleeps on a mattress and decorates the room with a picture of the night sky. Rhoda goes to an employment office the next day to look for work. She cannot attend MIT since she is an ex-convict, and no other universities will accept her. The office lady offers her a job based on her qualifications, but Rhoda insists on finding a job that doesn't require her to interact with anyone. She finds a janitorial job at her old high school. She begins working as a caretaker the next day and does not appear to dislike her job. The accident happened 4 years ago today. Rhoda walks to the crossroads where the terrible accident occurred and takes a look around. Just suddenly, a car stops nearby and a man gets out. Rhoda recognizes the man as the one she saw inside the other car. She is taken aback because she thought she had killed them all. In memory of his son, the man places a robot toy in a nearby pole and drives away. Rhoda hurries home and searches for the case on her laptop. The man's name, it turns out, is John Burroughs. His wife and son were killed in the vehicle accident, but he was in a coma. He awoke a few years later and has been living alone ever since. Further investigation reveals that he has resigned from his Yale music academic position. She notes down his address and plans to meet him the next day. She watches through the glass at him drinking in his dirty living room, unsure what to do. The night is snowy and freezing. Rhoda is troubled by her guilt and seeing John in such a state. She goes gently across the snow, undressing. Finally, she collapses, shivering and bare. As she rests in the cold, her fingers turn blue from hypothermia, and she glances at Earth 2. The screen blacks out. She is lying on a hospital bed in the next scenario. Someone had discovered her and saved her from the elements. Her fingers are wounded, but she has no fatal injuries. When she returns home, she eventually writes an essay in order to apply for the trip to Earth 2. In the essay, she mentions that in the past, madmen, outcasts, and orphans were subjected to all new experiments, rather than society's aristocrats. As a result, as a criminal, she believes she is the most likely candidate for this type of experiment. After completing her essay, she walks to the grocery store to acquire candies, when she runs into her high school boyfriend, with whom she had been partying that night. He informs her that he has been accepted to business school and introduces her to his girlfriend. When Rhoda tells him she works as a caretaker, he acts odd and embarrassed. She walks out of the store without the candies, embarrassed by where life has taken her. Rhoda knows she won't be pleased until she apologizes to John, so she returns to his house. She knocks on the door, but her nerves get the better of her. Instead of telling him she murdered his family, she lies and poses as a maid sent by Maiden Haven Cleaning Services for a free trial. John, who has been living in the house without cleaning it for months, accepts the offer and agrees to let her clean it. Rhoda is too caught up in the deception to question it. She begins cleaning, and John finds her looking into a telescope that is laying in one of the rooms. When she is finished, John, who is unaware of her identity, invites her to clean the house again the following week. Rhoda spends the week practicing telling John the truth. When she knocks on his door, however, she is overcome with nervousness once more, so she cleans his house again without saying anything. She starts going to his house once a week. However, John rarely speaks to her. Rhoda and her family watch a live broadcast of a scientist attempting to speak with someone on Earth 2 one night. She successfully receives a signal of someone speaking, and it turns out that the person speaking on the other end is the scientist from the other planet herself. She is her exact duplicate in every way, same name, date, and place of birth, even employment and childhood experiences. The entire world is in awe. Everyone now believes that Earth 2 is a mirror world with identical people. Rhoda is perplexed by the news and steps outside to examine the planet and its moon. The news has sparked a heated debate about what is true and what is a falsehood. According to physicists, Earth 2 is a mirror world, a carbon copy of our planet with all of its inhabitants. Some believe we may meet and converse with our exact duplicate, a person who is identical but has lived a different life. John and Rhoda both have an interest in space science. He offers Rhoda the use of his telescope, and she accepts. The two then appear to be forming a romance through playing video games together. Rhoda accepts John's offer of a ride home. Days pass, and John and Rhoda become closer. One day, they come across the subject of the first voyage to Earth 2. Rhoda informs him with the essay she submitted, but John is skeptical of the excursion. He maintains that humanity is not ready to embrace the fact that they are no longer unique, because they still feel they are the center of the universe. When John discovers that Rhoda has washed his wife's jumper, he becomes enraged. He yells violently at her to go. A radio program that broadcasts a debate cautions of Earth 2's possible hazards. Some individuals believe that because the people on Earth 2 have similar weapons to us and are suspicious, there is a significant likelihood of a battle between the worlds. Rhoda returns home to see John's automobile parked in front of her house. He comes to apologize for his past behavior, and she forgives him. Then he insists she accompany him somewhere. He takes her to a university auditorium and performs a private concert with a saw of a new piece of music. Following the performance, the two sense a stronger bond with one another. They return to John's house. They have sex after one thing leads to another. John later tells her about the accident and his years-long coma, but Rhoda refuses to tell him the truth. Rhoda's brother informs her that personnel from the space trip have called her. She returns their call and is astonished when wealthy Keith Harding answers the phone. He informs her that she has won the essay competition and has been chosen to travel to Earth 2. Rhoda is overjoyed and tells John about her accomplishment. John initially compliments her, but then asks her not to leave because they are in a wonderful relationship. He sees a future with Rhoda, which makes her nervous. She now realizes she can't keep lying to him for long. She finally admits to him that she was the cause of the disaster that night. John is rendered speechless. He calmly sits on the couch and asks her to leave his house. When she returns home, she is greeted by a swarm of news reporters who have gathered in front of her house. People are digging up her background and broadcasting the accident after hearing about her winning the fortunate ticket. Fortunately, her father arrives and takes her inside. United Space Ventures sends her a ticket for her travel to Earth 2. Rhoda later hears a scientist's theory on television a few days later. He claims that the people of Earth 2 lived in the same mirrored reality as our planet until it became visible to our planet. People's lives changed slightly 4 years ago as a result of that occurrence, altering their course of action and possibly their future. Rhoda now believes that the accident was not caused by her mirror self on the other planet. She runs to John's house with the flight ticket, but he refuses to open the door. Rhoda, on the other hand, is determined, so she sneaks into his house through the window. When he sees her, John becomes enraged and begins to choke her. They fight for a bit before he frees her. She stands up and informs him of the theory she has heard. She claims that the accident could have been avoided and that his family could still be alive. Rhoda gives him the ticket and tells him that he may find his wife and son on Earth 2. Rhoda has since returned to her regular life. Her mental health has improved significantly since she apologized to John. When Rhoda notices John in an interview, the space shuttle is about to take off. He has accepted her offer and will be traveling to Earth 2. Rhoda is heading home from work 4 months after the first shuttle launch when she is startled to see herself from Earth 2 in front of her. The film concludes with the two identical Rhodas staring at each other. Please subscribe to assist the channel, turn on notification and leave a like. Thank you for taking the time to watch. See you again soon.